Let's start in Boulder, Colorado, where peaceful demonstrators who had gathered to honor Israeli hostages in Gaza were violently attacked. Police say a man used a makeshift flamethrower to try to set people on fire. 8 people were injured, and at least 1 person is in critical condition right now. The suspect has been identified and faces multiple charges this morning.
Right. So, Egyptian immigrant comes to the U.S. with a tourist visa. He overstays the visa and then he applies for asylum because, all of us can apply for asylum. You can apply for asylum. I can apply for everybody can apply and become a fake asylum seeker and seek some protection without real evidence. And then he starts burning Jewish people because he wants to free Palestine, even though he's here in the U.S. Instead of going to Palestine to free Palestine, like a lot of them just cry and complain about it here in the United States.
Errol, the FBI is calling this a targeted act of violence and investigating the attack as an act of terrorism. The suspect is an Egyptian national whose visa expired more than 2 years ago. Charges were just filed against him, including attempted murder and the use of explosives during a felony. Investigators are now delving into his background and social media posts as they try to determine what inspired him to commit the attack and if he acted alone.
Embarrassing. Here I am defending the visa process because you go through a vetting process, and then we have this Egyptian moron and terrorist destroying the entire reputation of the process. But then again, I almost forgot that he came under the Joe Biden administration. And we know that administration's vetting process was trash. So let's discuss the details of this terrorist attack and the updates. Let's get started.
A male with a blowtorch setting people on fire.
A shocking attack in downtown Boulder. Witnesses say this man, identified by the FBI as 45-year-old Mohamed Sabry Soliman, used a makeshift flamethrower and threw Molotov cocktails, burning people who were marching to support the Israeli hostages held in Gaza.
I heard a big boom and people yelling and screaming.
Tourist Alex Osante says the attack happened while he was having lunch at a nearby restaurant.
One person caught on fire from head to toe.
Osante says he gave bottles of water to people who rushed in to help the victims. Witnesses and authorities say the suspect was heard yelling phrases including "Free Palestine" before he was taken into custody at the scene.
It is clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
A U.S. official confirms to CBS News that the suspect is an Egyptian national who overstayed his visa after entering the U.S. in August of 2022. He has recently lived in Colorado Springs, and the FBI says it is also conducting operations in El Paso County.
The fact that this is happening to Jews in my local community makes me scared.
Leaders of Boulder's Jewish community released a statement Sunday saying, "When events like this enter our own community, we are shaken. Our hope is that we come together for one another."
So it is Jewish people today, but who will it be tomorrow? Those are the questions we should be asking ourselves because all of these individuals are already in the country. And as far as I'm concerned, I would love for this terrorist monster to go to El Salvador, right? They should send him to El Salvador and never come back.
The attack comes as Jews around the world mark the holiday of Shavuot, which commemorates the giving of the Torah to the Jewish people. The suspect is being held in county jail on a bond of $10 million and is scheduled for a court appearance this afternoon. And this attack comes less than 2 weeks after a young couple was gunned down outside of a Jewish museum in Washington. The suspect in that attack also yelled, "Free Palestine."
Okay, so now we have a pattern, an undeniable pattern, of those who chant "Free Palestine" and those who become violent and act like this. But it is all within that group. So at what point do we ask, how can we separate the freedom of speech right to those who will commit terrorist activity? Or are we supposed to just wait for these disgusting and terrible tragedies to continue to happen? Or worse yet, should we just wait for an attack like Hamas did on Israel back on October 7th, 2023, to happen here in America? You see where I'm going with this, right? Because that's our path right now, unfortunately, in my opinion. But remember, a lot of these individuals are here in the country and they hate America. So that's why I am saying we need to take this seriously, because this seems very disorganized. It is terrorist activity, no doubt about it, but very disorganized. Now, imagine if this group gets together and actually organizes themselves to commit an Israel-like attack in America times 100, because that's what it would look like. Again, in my opinion, if we do not take this seriously and stop it right now, this will probably be the next terrorist attack in America. It will be like the one Hamas did on Israel times 100. And here is Caroline Leavitt with an update.
Bringing the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt for more on this and a couple of other items of pressing importance. So here's what the Deputy Director, Caroline, and welcome to the program, Dan Bongino, said about this Boulder act. He called it an act of terror. He said this act of terror is being investigated as an act of ideologically motivated violence based on the early information, the evidence, and witness accounts. We'll speak clearly on these incidents when the facts warrant it. He's been charged with a hate crime. The FBI is investigating terrorism. What's the White House's perspective on this?
Well, FBI Director Kash Patel is absolutely right. And the president just put out a very strong statement condemning this attack. This terrorist came into our country under the previous administration. Joe Biden's administration foolishly gave him a tourist visa and that allowed him to unlawfully remain in our country. This individual should have been deported. Instead, he was welcomed here. And now, 3 years later, after coming to this country under Joe Biden's administration, he is lighting Jewish people on fire who were simply trying to peacefully pay respect to the hostages in Israel. This absolutely is an act of targeted terrorism. The FBI and the Department of Justice are investigating it as such, and the president is going to ensure that this individual is held to the fullest extent of the law. And not just this individual, but any individual, especially illegal criminals who engage in acts of terrorism, will be held accountable under this president.
Caroline, the details that we are now learning, as Alicia just reported out of Boulder, they are chilling. They found 14 unlit Molotov cocktails at the scene of his arrest. On his victims, he said he targeted them. He knew they were there. In fact, when he confessed to the attack, when he was being taken into custody, he told the police he would do it again.
So he doubled down. He literally said, I would do it all over again. As I said, a lot of these people are in this country. Imagine, millions came into this country. What? How many would you need to commit a terrorist attack, the likes of which we haven't seen maybe since 9/11? What? Maybe 500 of these monsters? It's not a lot. I mean, they have the numbers. I'm telling you, this is very concerning.
When he was being taken into custody, he told the police he would do it again. So how do we make sure there are not more people like that out there in our streets in this country? How do we keep people safe?
Well, this is, again, an act of despicable evil. And this administration has already done so much to ensure that we are deporting individuals who seek to do harm in our country and who are in our country illegally. In fact, ICE Boston just announced the arrest of more than 1,100 illegal aliens who were in Boston in the surrounding suburbs in Massachusetts, which was a sanctuary city for a state for illegal aliens. The only place this country should be a sanctuary for are law-abiding American citizens. And that's why the president has taken historic, unprecedented action to secure our nation's territorial borders. But he has also signed an executive order to streamline and make stricter our legal immigration process and our visa process. And I would remind anyone here who is on a visa, like this individual in Boulder, Colorado, came to our country. It is a privilege, not a right, to enter the United States of America. And we are not going to allow people who are pushing anti-American values and especially engaging in acts of violence to remain in our country. Your visa will be revoked and you will be deported.
And then here also, we can see how people like him are destroying the visa process now. So now you have, the border crossing, forget about it. That's already, we're done with that, right? Like, there's no way. But the visa process now, it will be even more difficult, as it should, of course, after watching demons like this. But it is a shame. It is a shame because they are ruining the whole process for everybody.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that this person's status or lack thereof. This is what DHS said. The Colorado terrorist attack suspect, Mohamed Soliman, is illegally in our country. He entered the country in August of 2022 on a B-2 visa that expired on February of 2023. He filed for asylum in September of 2022. We've got the timeline that we want to put up on the screen. After we read the statement there from Tricia McLaughlin. So he came in August 27th, 2022, September 29th, 2022. He filed a claim for asylum. February 26th, his authorization to stay expired. That was in 2023. But look at this. March 29th, 2023, a month after that, he's granted a work authorization by the Biden administration. What does that say, Caroline, about their vetting process?
They had no vetting process. This is something President Trump has been calling attention to for years. He talked about this on the campaign trail, how the Biden administration was allowing illegal aliens from all over the world to come into our country illegally, unvetted, untested. We had a wide open border policy, and the president was right to point that out in his statement this morning. All of that has come to an end, though, John, and this administration is focused on deporting as many of these illegal aliens who entered our country as possible. Again, this is not going to be a place of asylum for those who seek to do harm in the United States of America. We have a legal immigration process for a reason that this administration is focused on strengthening. But in the meantime, we are conducting widespread deportation operations across this country to remove terrorists like this individual from our communities every single day.
She's 100% right. The Joe Biden administration did not have a proper vetting system, and these are the results. So now they got to do it. They have to make it even more difficult for people to come in the right way, because look what happens. I don't want to be set on fire. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, like I said, today's Jewish people, but maybe tomorrow is because you supported President Trump or you love this country or anything. It is unfortunate because I know there are a lot of people out there outside of the U.S. who love this country, who want to learn, assimilate to the culture, and do great things. But we have some disgusting terrorists, criminals, freeloaders who are destroying the entire process for the good people. It is a disgraceful shame. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please smash the like button, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Remember, the shout outs for those of you who support this channel are down below. I truly appreciate you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
We're here, brother. We're here. We can't do nothing about that. We can't do nothing.
We can!
Not here!
You have to end Zionists!
Not here, bro!
You're not!
People are taking video right now.
You have to end Zionists!
He was wearing an orange suit with like something on his back.
Spraying alcohol.
Spraying alcohol, but what he did was he made it look like
He's making Molotov cocktails.
Palestine is fighting, and for us,
What we can't do when he's got Molotov cocktails in
if you are fighting, you have the
That's what he's got right here. Is Molotov
You're
right there.
thousands. They are killers.
Get back, Mom.
How many?